guys, welcome to today's video. I thought it would be good to sit down and talk about how our first week of homeschooling went. So we started homeschooling this week for our 2024-2025 homeschool year. I am starting the year with a 6th grader, 4th grader, and kindergartner. This is our 4th official year of homeschooling, and I say that because the year prior was during COVID, and even though we were homeschooling, there was still a lot going on. So I feel like at this point, it's not new to us anymore. We've done this a couple years now, and so this was probably the easiest first day of homeschool that we've had. Now, that doesn't mean that there weren't some mistakes made and some changes that needed to happen already that were identified, but overall, it was a great first week. I think what really contributes to it being a great first week is my kids had a really good break. Like, they felt like they really got to enjoy their summer, and I was very open about communicating like when we were getting back into school. So it wasn't like they were shocked when we were ready to start. They saw me preparing, they saw me buying stuff. So kids were definitely prepared, and that helped a ton. And let's talk about curriculum. None of the curriculum we used starting this week was new. We had all done this curriculum previously. So my girls have been doing Saxon for a couple years now. They have both worked on moving beyond the page units. I did that at the end of last year to make sure that it would be a good fit. My son is using all the curriculum he was actually using a few months ago because it was all kindergarten curriculum. So we didn't really make any changes. So there was no trying to figure out like, how does this curriculum work? What do I need to do? What do they need to do? We all knew exactly what was expected. And so that part went flawless. I was very nervous about using Moving Beyond the Page for my 2 daughters because before we had always used it as like one-off unit studies, and we've done it together. So I, teach them together. Then last year I was like, okay, let's kind of start separating it out. And so we were practicing last year, and I'm glad we did that. But I was still nervous, but here we are this year. Both of my daughters are doing completely separate Moving Beyond the Page levels. They're doing their language arts, science, and social studies all through Moving Beyond the Page. So that means they're both working on 2 individual units. And there was absolutely no issues on their end. I made a major mistake, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. They did awesome. My 6th grader, the Moving Beyond the Page level she's at is written towards the child. So I just kind of check over everything and make sure she understands what she's supposed to be doing. So that's super independent and easy. And then my 4th grader, hers is still teacher directed, but she's done it so many times. I've used Moving Beyond the Page for so long that we know how it flows. So no issues there. The major issue came when we started working on science lessons. This is our first time using, well, we've done 1 or 2 like individual science units from Moving Beyond the Page, but this is our first time using like a full year science curriculum. And I thought we were prepared, and I thought we had everything we needed until the first lesson came up and we needed to do an experiment. I totally forgot to buy the science kits. Now, do you have to buy the science kits? No, but if you didn't buy the science kits, then you would have needed to go through the supply list and get all the supplies. My intention was to buy the science kits. Like, you can go back and watch a couple videos like where I say in multiple videos, I'm buying the science kit, I need to get the science kit. I don't know if I thought I had bought it because I really do have a ton of Moving Beyond the Page stuff since I'm working for them now. But we got to this experiment and I was like, oh my gosh, I did not buy those science kits. So immediately Monday, I went online, I bought their science kits, and I got them today, which is now Thursday. It's the last day of our school week. So super quick shipping. Thank you, Moving Beyond the Page. So we were not able to actually fully complete our science lessons this week because they did have experiments that needed to get done, and so we're actually going to work on them over the weekend. So we're going to do all the back experiments this weekend, and we'll be back on track next week. So not a huge issue, but definitely failed. It would have been a lot more fun first week if they could have actually done their experiments. So now that we have those, I feel much better and I'm really excited. Like I said, it's working out really well, even though my daughters are learning completely different subjects. Like one of my daughters, my 6th grader, she's learning weather, and so every day she's tracking the weather and she's learning, you know, different events in weather. And then my 4th grader is learning about dirt and plants, and so her experiments are pretty heavy. She needs to be growing plants, she needs to be, you know, doing experiments with soil. And so yeah, I can't wait. I am truly happy that was the decision I made, and I knew it was the right decision. I should have just trusted myself more. And so far, all of our curriculum picks are working fabulous. Now, I'll probably do a more official update, but those of you that watched my video where I was talking about like what kindergarten curriculum should I pick, obviously I had to make a decision because we started school. So I decided what most of you recommended was just do what you've been doing. Don't change anything at this point. And that's because I think my son still needs to build some different skills. He was already working on kindergarten curriculum at the end of his pre-K year. So we're just continuing on with that. So he is using the Good and the Beautiful Math K. He is on lesson 30. So he's going to continue working on that. And then for language arts, he is using the Bob's Book workbook, the reading books. I got him this like wipe and clean book. So we're using all of that. It works well. It's going great. No need to change it. So he's just continuing to work on his letter sounds, his beginning reading skills, his writing, and things like that. For handwriting, we are trying out the Denelian handwriting program. So I will talk about this one. I will probably do a full review on just this curriculum, but those of you that are interested, I've never used this curriculum. The reason I like it is because of the way it teaches manuscript. It teaches it in a way that will easily translate into cursive. It just makes more sense logically. So I bought it from Rainbow Resources, and it kept saying it comes with like this digital aspect. So I got the student workbook, and there's like a card in there where it tells you like how to access the online stuff, which I still don't know what the online stuff is. I have no idea. So it was such a process. I started this last weekend, so like a few days before we started school. You had to like open up this like ticket, like IT type ticket case, and then they give you access to this portal, and you're assigned like a class, like a school, like an organization, and then you have to assign teachers and students and classes. And I'm like, this is just kindergarten handwriting. Like, I don't know what these online aspects are, but I'm just going to use the workbook. So when I have more time and care more, I will dig deeper into what it is, because I can't figure it out and I don't have time to figure it out. So if any of you use the Denelian program and their updated version, and you would like to tell me what the online portion entails, I would love to know. But if not, probably in a few months I'll be sharing more on that. So anyways, my son's been working through that. The first few lessons, it's very basic. It's not even handwriting. It's like drawing circles and lines, which he's already been past that point. So we've been doing a lot of pages. So I think next week we'll get into actual letter handwriting. But I guess my biggest complaint, and this is with most handwritings that I've noticed, is so, okay, you know, next week we're gonna learn to write letter A, and I'm just making this example. I don't know what letters they start with. But then that's the only time you write letter A. Like, you get one page of practice, and then the next lesson is another letter. And so I'm actually going to purchase the Zahner Blosser kindergarten handwriting program. I use Zahner Blosser with my older daughters. I really like it. I've never used it for younger grades though, and so I've only used their cursive program. But I'm going to buy their kindergarten one and just see, because either way, it's not that I don't like the Denelian program, it's just I know there's not enough practice there. And so he's gonna need more handwriting practice. That is probably his thing he struggles with the most at this point. And so I need something that has a lot more practice involved in it. So I'll be updating you all about handwriting in the coming weeks. I think I said everything. And then the only other thing is his Sunlight Kindergarten Science, which again, we've been using. It works great. He loves it. He's been doing great. He's actually been sitting at the table doing school with his sisters, and so I feel like he's much more a part of our homeschool year this year. His school takes, less than an hour. He's done for the day, and I feel like, being very consistent every day, like we need to wake up and we need to do school, is going great. Something different this year that we're doing is we are actually schooling 4 days a week. So if you followed me before, you know that we traditionally do a 3-day school week. Now that's not going away. However, we did start earlier this year than anticipated. And the reason I traditionally do a 3-day school week is because my kids have co-op classes and activities on Mondays and Fridays. And so it was just too hard for me to try to schedule when those days are mostly occupied by co-ops. Well, our co-op is on a summer break right now, and we started earlier, and co-ops are not expected to start back up until September. So while we're not doing anything else, it's too hot to be doing anything. There's really no events or activities going on. I was like, let's just do a 4-day school week. Let's school Monday through Thursday until those activities and co-ops start coming up. And so that's going to help in the long run, making sure we're on track with curriculum and things like that. Now, here's what I will tell you all though. When I planned this homeschool year, which I did at the end of my last school year, so I did this back in April and May, I planned a 3-day school week. So I'm here to tell you, because I've done videos on it, I've done it for multiple years, we can finish our curriculum in 3 days a week. That's normally how I schedule it. So all that I did is I just added some of these Mondays back in, and it adjusted itself. So we will be going back to a 3-day school week once co-ops start. It's just right now, my kids would be sitting at home doing nothing, so we might as well be doing schoolwork. Now, talking about scheduling, one thing I did not show is my Homeschool Planet schedule, which is funny because I feel like I show it all the time. Obviously, I use it, but there was really nothing I needed to do to start school because I had already done it. It was already done. I did not have to stress about it. Everything was good. But now that we are in our homeschool, there's a couple details I want to add to it, some things I want to move around. So I'm actually filming a whole video on Homeschool Planet, my planner, and all the reports I use from it. So I use daily and weekly checklists, both for myself and for my kids. It can track grades. It can track all the records. So I have all the records of all the coursework and lessons they completed last year. So that's something I put in their end of year records. So I'm filming that whole video to kind of showcase a different side of Homeschool Planet. Yes, it plans out every single thing for you, but there's all these great reports and extra features that I really want to share with you guys because I use them all the time. So if you have questions about Homeschool Planet, leave them down below because I will answer those in that upcoming video that will be out towards the end of July. So I guess the only thing that I'm kind of already all right, I think we need to add some stuff in, and not right away. But for my son, besides his science activities, he's really not doing anything, or his science experiments, he's not really doing anything hands-on or artsy or cutting and pasting. So I am going to try to look for some stuff to add in, even if it's some art videos or just some, things I find on Teacher Pay Teacher, just to get him making sure he's practicing those scissor skills, pasting. Obviously Play-Doh plays really important. He's still building up his hand strength for handwriting. So that is something I want to add in for him, just more of that fun stuff that I know he really enjoys doing. Now my plan for my kindergartner, and I'll say it in this video, is I'm continuing with all that curriculum I talked about until the end of the year, end of the calendar year, so end of December. When I put it all into my Homeschool Planet planner, we are finishing most of the lessons in that time frame. So once we take our winter break and start back in January, at that point, I think we'll be switching my son to the Moving Beyond the Page 5 to 7 level. So I really do want to use that level for him. I just wanted to make sure that he was in the right place to use it, he was comfortable enough with handwriting and reading to start that level. So that is my plan for my kindergartner. My girls, the only thing that I'm kind of thinking about is they get to do tons of fun activities moving me on the page. Like my oldest daughter made this dolphin bead thing where you take safety pins and like these super tiny beads and you like make artwork from it. It was the coolest thing. It was in her language arts lesson. So really, like, safety pins and beads don't really go with language arts, but that's why I love Moving Beyond the Page, because they're always doing different activities, whether it's crafts, experiments, cooking. They're always doing something unique. And so I feel like my daughters are definitely getting that like kind of extra stuff. The only thing that I've been talking to my daughters about is a foreign language and some sort of like elective, whether it be musical, cooking, sports, just something else, you know, outside of like traditional schoolwork. So those are things that I'm thinking about for them. I know my oldest is actually, she's been practicing the guitar, and I do have an app for her. It's called Justin Guitar, where she's been learning how to play the guitar. My middle daughter likes her Spanish. She used Song School Spanish, and she mentioned she wanted to start that back up this year. So those are the only things that are kind of in my mind where it's like, okay, once we're like really good, which I'll be honest, like this week was really good, and we weren't like overwhelmed, we have more time in the day, that's where I'm going to start thinking about like all those fun extra things to add on. I just like to start the year off with just our core stuff, make sure we're good on core, and then we can move on to some of those elective type things. So overall, it was a fantastic week with some minor fails on my part, but we're going to resolve them. We're going to work through it, and I'm really excited for this year. I'm just think we finally found like the right curriculum and the right rhythm, and I think we're going to have a great year. So I hope you guys enjoyed my first week of school update. If you have questions about anything, or if there's any specific videos you want me to film, whether that be a review on a curriculum, it be a do a lesson with us, a day in the life on a certain grade level, leave it down below in the comments so I know what content you guys are looking for. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. Bye.